Today I'm going to show you how to do a 3-thread rolled edge on a baby lock overlocker. I'm using the Evolution today, but if you have another baby lock, the settings should be pretty much the same. Refer to your quick reference threading guide, and we're going to be using the 3-thread overlock rolled edge. Happy sewing! To thread your overlocker for 3-thread rolled hem, we'll be using the overlock needle 2, otherwise known as the right needle, the upper looper and the lower looper. First of all, you'll take your threads from the spool directly over the thread mast and back down to the thread guides here. Your thread then comes along the tension channel, clipping into the first two guides, or clipping behind the first two guides, and then I will show you how to use the air threading system. To engage the air tubes on your baby lock overlocker, you'll convert this switch down from surging to threading and simply turn the flywheel on the right hand side. This will then engage the threading system over here, and that creates an air path where your threads will flow through. Start by making sure that the thread has a nice smooth end. Trim off any excess and thread a little bit of thread into, I'll start with the upper looper, so we'll pop a little bit of thread into the upper looper. Okay, get my hand out of the way, and you've got a bit of thread into the air tube, and we've left enough thread to enable the thread to flow all the way through. Simply press your push to thread button, and voila, your thread is threaded. Now we're going to do the lower looper. Same applies. Ensure that your thread is trimmed, no furry bits, straight into the lower tube, and press the threading button. You can actually just leave your threads just hanging down the bottom there, and now we'll thread our needle thread. With the needle thread, we're going to pop it under this guide, this guide, and this guide. So there's 3 guides. It goes under, then it goes over, and into the thread guide directly above your needle. With the baby locks, they have a secret little hidey spot just under the loopers over here. That just opens up and you can keep your essential tools. So we'll be using our needle threader and our Allen key screwdriver to remove the needles today. Pointed the needle in first. The needle goes up as high as possible, right next door to the other one. You may find your screw has been tightened from previous use. Just loosen that to get it up as high as possible and then tighten the screw back up again. You'll notice your needles are uneven. Don't try and level them. It will not work. And whenever you have taken your needle out, bring the point straight down so you don't damage the point, and pop it in the secure spot. And always do this screw back up, because sometimes with the vibration of the overlocking, your screw will fall out. When taking your needle out of your machine, it's always a good idea to store it somewhere. So I have a little piece of cloth over here, and I simply pop it in there so that I can easily find it later. In the quick reference threading guide, our instructions tell us to leave a needle in the right hand side, otherwise known as O2. On the baby locks there is a stitch length dial that has standard or rolled hem. For rolled hem we want to change it to rolled hem, so we turn it around so that the rolled hem section is now engaged, and we pop the thread stitch length onto 1. Now your stitch length will vary depending on the fabric that you're sewing and the threads that you're using. So at this point I'm going to just leave mine on 1, but your variation will go anywhere between 0.75 and 4. Our stitch width, which is this dial here, goes on 3.5, so we turn that around to 3.5. Adjusting the width on your overlocker is very important. What this dial does is adjusts the blade, and it moves it from left to right. Depending on your fabric, you need to move your blade out. So for organzas or anything that frays away easily, I recommend moving your blade so that it's out to the right further, therefore it rolls more fabric within the seam and doesn't fall off the edge. Sometimes you may have bought a garment and you'll find that the rolled hem just simply falls off the edge due to fraying fabric. So by increasing the cutting width, it rolls more fabric within the seam and gives it a more stable edge. Our stitch selector dial goes down to D. Ensure that the wave and overlock switch is on overlock, not wave, because we're just doing a standard 3-thread overlock rolled. Our looper is in the up position Our blade is in the up position, and we have our standard knife cover on, not our flatbed if you have an 8 thread that converts to a cover stitch. Otherwise it's just your standard table. We're doing 3 thread rolled hems, so ensure that the 2 thread converter is flipped back here and it is not engaged into your looper. We are now set up for rolled hem. Always remember, before closing up your doors, to change your threading switch back to serging. Otherwise your cover will not close. So change it to serging and your covers will close nicely.